What is up, guys? Episode number 1 of the PESTCAST. I'm your host, Gabe, with Pest Patrol, where we discuss all things pest-related, business, marketing, sales, pest control, all that good stuff. Today, I want to discuss, because we're in the middle of fall time, just about to hit winter. Christmas is almost here, and if you live in the Portland area, or just about anywhere, in a major city at least, you're going to be dealing with lots and lots and lots of rodents. So I want to walk through some rodent trapping options, how to pick out the best rat trap or mouse trap, what brands we generally go to, what brands to avoid, and all of that sort of thing. So let's jump into it here. So if you're a business owner, you're going to have quite a few kind of financial considerations when you're choosing a rodent trap. You may have distributor limitations. Some distributors may not distribute certain brands. And you're definitely going to have quality control considerations that, like, a normal consumer probably isn't. So when I give my recommendation, I'm doing it from the perspective of a business owner and somebody that has to think about efficiency, efficacy, the customer experience, how much money we're spending on labor, and that type of thing. So that greatly affects my decision making when I choose what traps to use and when we go through and try and investigate different options. But from a consumer standpoint, cost is going to be an important thing for you. But you're not going to be buying traps by the bucket load, most likely, right? You're not going to be buying cases and cases of snap traps like a pest control operator is. So we'll discuss those kind of options and the differences there. So the first trap I want to discuss is the primary trap that we use here at Pest Patrol for rat trapping. That is the Victor Pro trap. If you're here on the video, you can see it on the screen. It is one of the more classic Victor style snap traps. I've got here an old version as well. So you notice with the old version of the snap traps, and if you're not watching the video, then you can't see this, but come watch our YouTube channel and you'll be able to see. So it's got this metal trigger, a really small metal trigger, about the size of a dime, couple dimes next to each other. Small metal trigger. This works okay. So, like, you can catch rats. You can see this trap. It's been well used. We've used this out in the field. We generally use those traps in case of emergency. If for some reason we have a inventory issue or something, then we're not able to get our standard traps. But these Victor Pro traps have the big yellow square on them. Kind of looks like Swiss cheese in some models. And the reason why this yellow trigger is so important is it allows a bigger surface area. And if you look at all the other newer traps, I'm just going to show a few of them. This is the Power Catch Victor trap. Any of these traps, they have these bigger square triggers on them. All those. This is the Catchmaster. They all have these bigger triggers. So the industry is definitely shifting towards these large paddle style triggers. They allow a larger surface area for the rodent to potentially activate the kill bar. So why we like these is it has a sensitivity setting, which you can barely see here on the video, but you got S for sensitive, F like Frank for firm, S and F. It's really nice because if you want to have a little bit of variability in how you set your traps, you can do that with this. You have a harder time doing that with a trap like one of these. You can sort of pre-press down the trigger a bit, but it's not even close to as adjustable as the Victor Pro traps. Cost-wise on these traps, you're looking at anywhere from maybe a little under $2 to $3, $4 each on the Victor Pros. That makes these a very cost-effective solution. Now keep in mind they're wood, so they're not going to hold up quite as long as a plastic trap. This you could reuse over and over again. It's got the easy set option, which is really nice. But man, for the price, you can't beat these, because you end up losing or breaking or having to throw away plastic traps anyways. So another thing we really liked about these Victor traps is you can stack them. So if you're having to take a whole case into an account, you can stack them. They're pretty easy to set. And again, that variability of the sensitivity for us is really, really important, because it allows you to be able to decide, do I want to give it a little extra oomph and put it on more of a firm setting, or am I going to keep it real light on a loose setting? That it helps as well if you ever have to incidentally catch mice and that type of thing in a crawl space setting, where you think you're trapping out rats and then you realize it's actually mice. A lot of times, if you have it on a sensitive setting, you can end up catching mice inadvertently, which is nice and will save you a lot of time to figure out what you're dealing with. Another great option, if you want to stay in the Victor brand, is this Victor Power. I think it's Power Kill, but basically it's an easy set bar here. If you're watching on the video, easy set bar. It's got the same really big trigger pad, and it's got a bait cup in it as opposed to the older square style bait cup on the Victor Pro traps. So this moves Victor more into the kind of reusable plastic style that we'll talk about in a sec. These work great in the Victor bait stations. If you use Victor bait stations, they'll fit inside of there, and that's a nice option. Also, these are nice because they're reusable, these Victor Power ones. Okay, some other options for plastic snap traps, and I'm going to go from the least to the best. So if you go on Amazon and you look up rat traps, you can grab these Cat Sense rat traps. They are not terrible, although we do not recommend them at all. They do have nice sharp teeth, kind of like the, hang on, let me grab it. Their teeth resemble the J.T. Eaton Jaws style teeth. See that? Pretty cool. Nice sharp teeth on there. So that's really neat. And in fact, largely the trap resembles it in a lot of ways. So the teeth are similar, more kind of aggressive, sharper teeth than the Trapper T-Rex or the Catchmaster. And yeah, this is the J.T. Eaton Jaws trap, sharper teeth. The problem that we found with these is the quality control on these traps is pretty low. So we'll get them quite often that have busted backs on them. They'll break as we're setting them. They will get a lot of false springs or failure to springs where the paddle will get jammed. We've found that the amount of pressure needed to push down these on average, oftentimes you'll actually have to like push it all the way down to the bottom before it'll snap. So just those random kind of mechanical things. In our experience, we've set a lot of these traps because we did a whole trial on them. We just didn't love them. They are quite cheap though. The plastic trap that we prefer for the moment right now is the Catchmaster snap traps. These guys have pretty aggressive teeth on them. So if you look, I mean, they're pretty sharp teeth, especially on the bottom here. Nice, sensitive, firm snap. It's got a hole to put your bait in. And kind of the similar counterpart to that would be your Trapper T-Rex. Again, pretty nice sensitive trigger. This is actually the Trapper T-Rex IQ because we're kind of doing some trial testing on these as well. This allows you to wirelessly link to an app on your phone or on your iPad so that you can tell if the trap has been sprung or not. We're not huge fans of these currently, but are going to be doing some testing on them and seeing how they work, just so we can get a better sense of it, yeah or nay. Teeth on these, not quite as sharp as your Catchmaster traps. But these are great. I mean, these are like industry standard. Lots of people run these Trapper T-Rexes. Let's see, and then let's talk real quick about some glue boards. So we don't run glue boards hardly at all. Very, very rare situations we'll throw out some glue boards if we're having serious issues trapping. But there's a couple options for you. Catchmaster makes a jumbo kind of rat trap glue board. Victor's got a few different options of glue boards. We don't love glue boards, mostly just from a kind of humanity standpoint. It's one thing to kill an animal really quickly using force and to sort of put it out of its misery. It's another thing to make it stick to a trap, potentially have to chew its arm off or its leg off or starve to death. I don't know if you've ever heard rodents screeching when they're caught somewhere, but it can be pretty brutal. So we try not to do that, mostly just to care for the pests that we're trying to eliminate, and also to care for our customers so that our customers don't have to hear a rodent screeching in their crawl space and freak out and give us a call. So those are some options. There's obviously electronic zapper traps. We've used those. We've caught lots of rats and mice before in those styles, and don't love them. They're not, I mean, they're just big, they're bulky, they take batteries. Like you can do as much with this, and I can stack these, 20 high for the same amount of space as one of those zappers. So we don't really recommend those. We don't use them as a general rule on any of our accounts, but have used them in the past. So that's sort of it. That's an overview of quite a few different rodent trap options, and I'll just review them here. You've got the Trapper T-Rex, decent option, pretty expensive, especially for these Bluetooth ones. I think these run $25 to $35. You can go real cheap with a CatSense. Again, actually has pretty good aggressive teeth, but we've just found the quality control on these is pretty poor. Our recommendation is the Catchmaster snap traps. These fit inside the bait stations that we use. So this is kind of what we run as our primary plastic snap trap. But anytime we're trapping in a crawl space, with some few exceptions, we're almost always using these Victor Pro Classic snap traps. Another good option from Victor, if you want more of a reusable style, long-term, is their plastic. I think it's their Power Kill trap. And then, of course, you can go with the classic Victor rat trap with a metal trigger on it. You can catch rats with any of these snap traps. You can see most all of these traps are pretty well used, and we've successfully caught and captured rodents with all of them and others. It is just a matter of personal preference, really, and what value systems it upholds within your company. So if you want to if all you care about is just cheap rat traps, you can buy these for, I think, under $1 right now, which is just the standard Victor traps. If all you care about is getting the top of the line stuff for your business, and that's the only thing that matters, it's just that, you can get these Trapper T-Rex ones with the IQ for $25. So, but there's all sorts of variables in between. How well does it work? How well does it work versus the cost? How easy is it to transport? How much inventory can you keep on hand? How easy is it to source? Can you get it locally? Can you get it only from certain distributors? All that stuff. Can you buy it on Amazon, right? Those things are important, especially for small business owners, because you need to be able to be flexible and make those adjustments quickly. And if you all of a sudden find out from Target or whoever your distributor is, oh shoot, that's out of stock, we can't ship that out, and you're expecting to get a case of 100 new rat traps, 1,000 mouse traps because you have a huge commercial account you're opening tomorrow, are you going to be able to solve that issue, right? Can you buy stuff locally to remedy it? So those are the things we would consider. Again, any of these traps will work. It doesn't really matter what brand of snap trap. Another brand I didn't bring, but Tomcat is a really common one. You can get it at your local hardware stores. I think it's Home Depot's in-house brand, if I'm not mistaken. Tomcat works fine. We actually used their mouse traps for a while because we really liked the action on their mouse traps. Had some pretty darn aggressive teeth on them and were reasonably priced. So we used those for a bit. We use the Victor snaps for mice now, though. Mostly just because of how convenient it is. You can buy these massive packs and they're really small and condensed, and they're just dirt cheap. So yeah, so that's about it. Another thing to consider as you're trapping is what type of bait you're using. We always recommend doing a peanut butter base, unless you have some sort of allergy or your customer has some sort of allergy to peanut butter. That seems to work the best as a general rule. Like, you're going to be able to trap out 98% of the rodents that you have just using that. There are other options. There's rodent lures. I know JT Eaton makes a bacon jelly lure. We use that in addition to the peanut butter as kind of a secondary option. And then I know Bell Labs has a rodent lure as well for mice and for rats. And there's others. There's lots of them out there on the market. Another thing to consider is when you're trapping, using the rodent's current food source. So if there's a chicken coop nearby and they're constantly feeding on the chicken coop, grabbing some of that chicken feed, mixing it in with whatever bait type you're using, and that will greatly increase your trapping efficacy. Or if they're going after your cat food or your dog food, using that in there to help make sure that the food that they're already used to is coming into contact with the traps that you want them to get caught in. Otherwise, a lot of times, because rodents are so finicky, especially rats, sometimes they'll just stay with their current food source, and because they're neophobic, they won't even go after your snap traps. So anyways, guys, that wraps up episode 1 of the PESTCAST. We're going to hopefully do this 2 or 3 times a week. And so any questions or comments, you can text us anytime at 503-985-6523. You can also visit our website at pestpatrolpdx.com for more information regarding pest control, pest management, all that sort of stuff. Do all the things you're supposed to do with these podcasts, like, subscribe, whatever the press the heart button, press the thumb up button, and check out our YouTube channel. Pest Patrol is the channel. We provide helpful entertainment, education, and insight into the pest control world, how to do it well, how to save money doing it, how to keep your family and your pets, your household safe. So that's all for today. Tune in next time for the PESTCAST. Thanks for listening.